In a world of confusion, overwhelm, division, and ununited selves, we are looking for a way to actually start to love each other. Our next guest is someone that really thrives on finding that key to making our community whole. Hi, welcome to the Secret Men's Business Podcast. This is Joey Buzzertle, and on today's show, we've got SHAUN RESNIK, who's going to be talking about the thriving community and how he works really hard to find that within his clients and within his culture. Hey, SHAUN.
Hey, Joey. How you going, buddy?
Good. How are you? Long time no see. It's good to see you.
Long time no see with COVID, but lovely to see you on the computer screen, no doubt.
You too. I mean, I love that. I've sort of got used to this whole friendship with the Zoom thing. I don't know what it's going to be like when we go into the real world and we've got to actually touch and see people. How are you going with being in lockdown?
I cannot wait to be out of lockdown. So I miss hugs, especially like even my clients have always had that relationship with people. I like to give people a nice big hug and, catching up with friends. But you know what? I feel like I've just adapted the Zoom thing. I'm just grateful for it because were it not for Zoom and, other sort of avenues, we wouldn't be able to run our businesses. So I'm grateful for what we've got right now.
Yeah, totally agree. So before we get started about the topic, do you want to just introduce yourself to our listeners, like what you do and how you sort of got there?
Sure. So I'm a naturopath, hypnotherapist and mindset coach, and I've been working in my own practice for the last 20 years, 43 years of age now. So I've been doing this for quite a long time. Originally from South Africa. If anyone's wondering where the accent comes from,
you can tell.
But when I was 22. Wow. And I've always had a keen interest in, people's mental health. I used to suffer quite a lot from anxiety as a teen, being a gay guy in a conservative family in South Africa. And anxiety, panic attacks, and all that sort of stuff became my norm right up until my early 20s when I came out of the closet, but also then embarked on a journey of self-development, which has helped me in my own practice because I believe by overcoming a lot of my own stuff, I've become a far better practitioner because I can help other people on their journey too. So that's how I got into it.
Yeah, and you relate to people because, I mean, I've been interviewing a lot of coaches and therapists and healers and I've asked everyone the same sort of question. Do you feel like was there a moment where you felt like you organically knew that you were supposed to do something with people? You may not have known what it was, but, you knew that you were, that you were meant to be in this type of work?
A great question. I reckon I knew from like even just being a kid. I was just one of those kids that really loved human contact. I always wanted to be a healer of sorts. And I used to walk around with like bandages and little makeup sort of little tablets and stuff. And I'd go around the house to mum, dad, my brother and try and heal everyone from stuff. I feel like it was just in my blood from a very young age. And even at school, people came to see me for their problems. I was always the go-to person giving advice. So
I mean, it's an interesting question because, we want everyone to have experience with good people. And I think that that question's important because there are a lot of people becoming healers that are thinking about the money or they're not thinking about, they're not thinking about the work because it is hard work, isn't it? We're not just doing it, we love it, but it's hard in some ways. Yeah.
I feel like if you don't have the passion and you don't actually have the genuine side to you that just wants to work with people, I don't see how people would actually survive in the industry. I mean, to be quite frank, when I catch up with clients, because I'm so interested in their psychology and helping get them results, like I almost salivate. I get so excited at it. And I've been doing this for 20 years. So I couldn't imagine doing it without that level of passion.
I mean, 20 years is a long time. Like, did you find it hard doing it when you were a lot younger?
Oh, hell yes. Totally. It's funny how we're all just evolving, right? And I don't believe any of us have landed. I certainly don't feel like I've landed. I'm still like, in my infancy, making my way through this crazy world, just doing as best as I can. But I feel like I know a shit ton more now than I did, like in my 20s or even my 30s. And I feel like with every year that goes by, you just improve more and more in your mindset and the work that you do on yourself and for others. So I feel like it comes a lot more organically to me now. I feel like maybe there's just a wisdom that comes with getting older. But certainly in my 20s, I felt like a fraud, to be quite frank.
Yeah. I always wonder that, there's so many, because mental health is such a big industry now. I don't like calling it industry. It's a big profession. There's so many 23-year-olds psychologists coming out. I supervise a few of them, and God bless, like I sit there and they have like, I mean, I do believe that you can learn stuff, but you don't know it until you go through it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, if
Yeah.
someone came to you and said, I've got anxiety, I have no idea what that is. You
Mm.
know, that's why I think a lot of therapists say to their clients, "Oh, it's okay. You'll get over it." They don't really understand.
Yeah.
So, how do you think we can navigate trying to create a culture of healing when we are getting a lot of practitioners coming through that may not have the experience or the
Do you
skills?
know what? I think it's interesting, and I feel like I'm kind of glad that there's like fresh blood coming through as well, because I feel like we need it. And even if their intentions are pure and they're
Mm,
hoping to help people, but they haven't got the life experience. I mean, I started there at that stage too, and
you're right. You're
I
right.
had all the intentions of helping people. And in a way, I look back at my own experience with anxiety, and I'm kind of grateful for it. I am grateful for it now because I feel like it's helped me understand mental health far better, to have had,
Mm.
gone through my own insecurities. I guess to them, I would just say, just keep working at it, basically. Keep trying. Look, I'm kind of glad that they're there. I just think that it's maybe up to us as more mature practitioners to guide them, and they can seek, counsel from us and mentorship and that sort of
Oh,
thing.
you're so
But
beautiful. I love it.
we got to start somewhere, Joe. Like, we got to
I know.
start
You're
somewhere,
right. You're right. You're right. I mean, like
Yeah.
I was more thinking about the people that are doing it for the money, but you had such a good way of spinning that round and getting me to feel the love, which is, bringing
Yeah.
us to the main topic. So you have this passion to create a thriving community or culture. So explain a little bit what that means and what's driven you towards being connected to that.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, I have this belief that people that are hurting will go on to hurt other people. So, for the greater collection, for everyone's sakes, we need to start with ourselves first, deal with whatever internal demons that we've got going on, and actually work on ourselves so we can become people that are far more resourceful and more loving towards ourselves. So,
Mm,
self compassion is so important. And if you finally learn to love yourself, then I think you'll become an individual who will actually be far more generous and kind and loving to other people. So it begins with you, and it
mm,
actually begins with taking responsibility for your life, letting go of the need to blame everyone from the past, and actually draw a line in the sand and say, okay, life may not be fair, because we know it's not fair. I'm a firm believer that life is not fair. Okay, it's just a healthier, more mature mindset. But then what can we do with what we've gone through, and how can we utilize it to become better human beings? Because there's a learning in everything. So
yeah.
that's where I'm coming from. Like,
Yeah, and
let's start with ourselves.
it's also aligned with the shifting from 3D to 4D.
Yeah.
The shifting from me to you. I'm here to serve you. Last night I was actually watching a bit of TV, and I saw like an interview with Father Bob, from South Melbourne,
Yeah.
and the question was, how do what makes you happy? And he goes, or what? How do what makes you happy, or how do you become happy? And he goes, happiness is when you make other people happy. And I
Yeah.
just thought, oh my God, that was such a beautiful um, sentiment, the way that he was just so giving. Everything about him is giving. And so, how do you feel the population is taking to your idea? Or like, what's your feedback been, or how are you doing that?
Look, I just think, especially now, even with COVID, I'm not sure what your experience has been like, but I'm seeing so many more people reaching out to other people, being more generous and kind to each other. And there is so much truth to that whole notion of, if you give to others, especially if you seek something, if you look for something internally and you give it to somebody else, you'll get it in leaps and bounds for yourself. It's that law of reciprocity. What you put out will eventually come back to you.
Mm,
So I feel like people are really open now to doing some of the work. A lot of
yeah,
clients are coming in who've, gone through a lot of pain with, economically and emotionally with COVID. They've seen people either fall ill, or they've seen their businesses decline. And I think now's the perfect opportunity for people to really start working on themselves and get themselves in a better position, because we're going to come out of this. Like,
mm,
this will pass.
yeah.
Okay.
I
Who
mean,
are you
I
going to be
agree. I
afterwards?
agree with you. It's and I love that I'm interviewing you in this moment, because you're getting me to reconnect with my optimism. I think I am optimistic, but being locked up in this place for 200 and something days, there are tiny cracks that go in. I think that we're at a place where how you were saying earlier about experience, right? Not everyone gets an opportunity to have experience and to learn like we have. but the universe has decided to give everyone COVID. And so everyone is sort of collectively experiencing the same thing at the same time. So I agree that people are ready, but I personally don't think that everyone is ready. I still feel, I still feel there's a lot of hatred and anger that's going on, but I believe that's part of their experience.
Yeah.
They've got
And
to go through that, don't they?
I'm a massive fan of like, there's light life is full of shades of different color, and you're going to get people that are ready for it, an optimist, you're going to get the pessimist, you get the realist. Everyone's at a different stage in their journey. I know like when I was in my 20s, I was so fearful, I was anxious all the time. I probably lashed out and hurt people with my words because I was feeling so distraught myself. So I guess it just depends on where we are on the, on that pendulum of, where we're swinging at the moment. But
Mm.
if people that are more enlightened can take other people on board and show them the way, then wow.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Oh, that's well. Hey, I was going to say, like, are you sort of focusing your passion to create that culture on the people that will listen, or are you also being a little bit more, directive and actually trying to speak to the people that don't get it?
that is such a cool question you ask, my
Well,
friend. Okay, so
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I asked you that is because I believe I've worked very authentically to create the Secret Men's business. Right, I
yeah,
just really want this mental health thing for men, but yet I sometimes get these really nasty comments about people that don't see what I'm seeing or they're not ready to see what I'm seeing, and so I'm just curious because you're about to embark on a huge sort of thing like I guess like I have. And I just want to know how you see the people that don't.
many moons ago, when I was in my 20s, I used to get quite upset if people didn't see the benefit in what I was offering, or I felt like I had to like force the issue onto them, sort of thing. And as I've gotten older, I realized that you can't force anything onto anyone. Those that are ready to hear messages of self-love and taking care of themselves and others and looking after their well-being are going to be ready and willing and able and want to work with you. And those that don't, that's cool. I actually
Okay.
see that that's okay. Like, go off, do your thing. And if you ever need my help, please come forward again. But I'm not here to convince people. I've learned that in practice. I
Yeah.
don't convince people of my worth or what I do for them. If they see the value and they've heard from others that it's been of benefit and they want to come, awesome. And if they don't, that's okay
Yeah.
as well. Now, I do want to say something. I do want to acknowledge you on the Secret Men's business.
Stop
Okay.
it.
I am so freaking proud of you. Like, we've known each other for like, I don't know, probably 16 years or so.
Yeah.
And just seeing Secret Men's business grow from strength to strength, seeing what you've done is freaking brilliant. So even if you get some backlash from the minority, I'm hoping it's a minority because I can't understand why anyone would be giving you, vitriol or whatever. Okay. I just want to say, please keep going with it because the benefit to so many others from what I've heard has been outstanding. So you're a legend, mate. So well
Thank
done.
you. Well, thank you. I mean, like I do feel like it's just been born from what you were saying earlier. This was born from me losing 3 friends. It was born from me going through anxiety and having a relationship breakup. And then it got even stronger from me becoming disabled. So in some way, I appreciate what you're saying, but I don't think many people realize that I needed it. This is
Mhm.
actually about me healing. And I'm the same as you. And if I'm not thinking about what is happening, it's just happening. And I think that the reason why I brought up that question is because I'm dealing with suicide prevention. And so I get a little bit funny and I've got to learn to let that go when other guys don't think that there's a problem.
Hmm.
Right. And so that's why I get a little bit going, why are you attacking me? We're trying to save lives.
Well, isn't it? But I think it's easy to just keep your head buried in the sand and to pretend that nothing's going on. It's just an easier option,
Yeah.
And it obviously is bringing up stuff for them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. Yeah, so
kind of
so do you think that I agree with what you're saying with us letting them be and then they'll come to us. But I don't know, a little niggle in my head says that we're at a place now where that's possible, but we also need to step up a little bit. Like, I don't know if you agree. I just feel like there needs to be um a bit more like directive. You know what I mean? Like versus that, a poster may not cut it anymore.
no. But you're coming from the position of being a leader, and you've obviously stepped into quite a big leadership role in what you do. You've taken the punt to stand up and take a stand. which is awesome. But
It's
leaders are
so
always,
weird, right? Because I've never in my life been a leader.
but you become a leader,
I know
and
it's weird.
that's what you're growing into, and you now are a leader, and that's why there will be people who will see what you're doing, and they'll either be like, yes, let's go for it, let's go on this journey, and then others who are scared will be like, no, who is this man to come here and tell us that we need to like think differently, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, but my big thing is, you obviously know Brene Brown. And Brene Brown says, unless you're in the arena and you're actually sweat, blood, and tears, like fighting for whatever it is, unless you're in that position, you can't comment and don't criticize somebody else who's not stepping up. So yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. There's a time now where people do need to step up, and I'm so proud that you've done that. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. And like, I got that advice from. I was talking to um, I had made friends with a coach in Sydney, and you remember when that footballer burned his family in the car, like in January. Do you remember that story? It was well, yeah. This
Oh, I
this
don't
famous
recall.
this famous rugby player.
Yeah.
His wife left him, and so rather than dealing with that, he burned his family. Right,
Wow.
and that was terrible. And I was like really shocked, and so I joined a men's group, and I was writing, "Come on, guys, we need to start changing that." And I got attacked, right? Like really attacked. I got called a man hater, and so I sort of put it on Facebook saying, "You know what? I think I'm ready to have a break from trying to change the world." And then this coach rang me, and he gave me the most. I just love him. I've never met him, but he gave me this 15-minute inspirational talk that changed my life. You know, so
What was something that came out of it? I'm curious to know,
he
like,
well,
what was
basically, it's basically what you're saying. He was just saying, you know, it's all about standing in the arena with blood and sweat and tears, and realizing that you've got, you know, you're in where you're meant to be. Because I've never been a leader. I've always been someone that has maybe been good with one person, but you know, and I've taught people. But this is some I can't explain to you what happened. I
yeah.
woke up and it was just there, right?
Well, this is
And
because you've got a calling, you've got a passion, and so you've taken a stand because part of you has gone, I've had enough. Like I'm now
yeah.
I've lost
So
three friends.
is that what's happening to you? Is that why you went to
Yeah.
this?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Like I'm just finding I'm reaching a point in my life, as I said, 43 years of age. I don't really care nearly as much anymore. I still care, obviously, what people think of me. But you know, there's that expression: the people that care, that the people that mind don't matter.
yeah,
People that matter don't mind.
yeah,
As long as your close friends, family, and networks are supportive of you and championing you, it doesn't really matter what the outer sort of, you know, community is thinking. If you know that you're on the right track, don't be
yeah.
swayed, don't be
Yeah,
letting.
and I think that's for both of us because if we are going to go into, I sort of think that what you're trying to do and what I'm trying to do, in some way, even though there's variations of it, it's quite unique. You know, it's a new field, especially for myself, and the people around me. So, of course, there's going to be some people that are going, "What is this person saying?" And there's going to be some people that are craving it. But I do feel that because the world is moving so much faster energetically that we can't just be complacent. We need to sort of sometimes have these dialogues, and that's why you know your group is it's quite open to everyone, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
quite
well, what I'm doing
inclusive.
in my particular group, you know, the people that I'm doing workshops with online, and that's why I've actually been grateful for COVID to a degree because it's given me an opportunity to get my online workshops going. All I'm trying to do is help people start to love themselves a little bit more. In fact, not a little bit more, a shit ton more, because we're going to live with ourselves to the day we die,
Mm,
basically. And if you don't have that internal dialogue within you that's supportive and loving and kind, how are you going to navigate your way through this lifetime and actually be there for other people and be the greatest expression of yourself? So
mm.
I personally don't feel like what I'm, you know, suggesting to others is all that ridiculous. I think if anything, you know, we should have been taught how to love ourselves
I totally
more than
agree.
anything else so that we
Yeah.
could have become a better expression of who
Mm.
we are, right? So this to me just makes sense to
Yeah,
me.
it's the right timing. So in your workshops, I know there's going to be variances of this answer, but what do you feel is some of the main things that you're hearing that is blocking people?
People come in with an absolute fear of failure. People are scared to put themselves out there because of exactly what you've just spoken about, fear of stepping up and people attacking them. We all have an anxiety or a fear of not being enough, not being loved, not belonging. So people come to see me because they're stuck in those old beliefs. And all I do is I use a lot of different techniques, NLP, hypnosis. Sometimes it's just about conversation and having fun and banter and laughter and
Yeah.
reframing things
Yeah,
for
because
people.
I mean, like, it's funny,
Laughter and
isn't
humor is
it?
massive.
Yeah. Have you heard like 1,000 times people saying to you, "Oh my God, you're the first person that I'm talking to this about." You
Yes.
know, so all their life they've held this secret or this way, and then they meet someone that they can talk to, and then that alone could be a massive gateway to being different.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what I find interesting as well? The amount of clients I've had over the years who say things to me, wow, I can't believe I'm opening up to you in just one session. I've been seeing a therapist for years and they still don't know this about me. It saddens me because these are people who are seeking help and obviously feel so judged even by a therapist that they're
Yeah.
too scared to speak out. So whenever I work with people, I go, "Hey, I'm completely imperfect. I never come across as perfect. As I said to you, I'm like an infant just making his way through life." And I want my clients to feel that kind of support and love and care because I'm not here to judge
Yeah.
because we're all
Yeah,
imperfect at the
I
end of
I
the day.
know, but that's the thing about that's why we need to change the culture because at a very young age, men are trained, very subconsciously and not directly, but they're trained to suppress emotion.
Yeah,
You fall over at 3 years old, and straight away, mummy says, "Stop crying."
yeah.
So you get to learn that. So what have you noticed? I guess because this is a men's podcast, and I want to know what you have found are some of the things that men are adapting to. Like, what are some of the things that you've noticed about men? Because this year's been a massive year of change. So, and you've probably seen a variety of different emotions and behaviors. But what are the main things that you've noticed about men?
Well, I've noticed a lot of guys coming in specifically for low self-worth and, really feeling stressed. Either they're trying to find partners and now they can't because of COVID and they're feeling lonely. And if anything, guys are coming to see me because they want to step up.
Yeah.
How do we live a life beyond the scene? How do we live a life that goes beyond the next hookup, basically,
Mm.
And that's what I'm trying to help people with because I feel like, especially in our culture, and I don't want to stereotype, of course, because there's so many different facets, but a lot of the guys get really caught up in the toxic world of online dating and hookups, and your self-worth is dependent on your latest profile photo. And for some guys, that photo might be like 10 years old and they're still living into that Peter Pan sort of syndrome. They no longer look like that, but then there's this discourse that occurs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, can we not find other areas of our lives to really grow into
Mm.
so that we don't rely
Mm.
on how other people are perceiving
Mm.
us and
Can I just ask, is that also applicable to straight men?
100%. It's
Yeah.
applicable to all men,
Men.
you know?
Yeah.
So I just like, if anything, one of the biggest messages is stop comparing yourself to those around you because
Mm.
you are not them and they are not you. They don't
Yeah.
have your genetics, your upbringing, your life lessons, your parenting. So you can only compare yourself to who you used to be the day before, the year before that. So start looking at your own life's journey and start focusing on yourself
Mm.
without comparing yourself all the time to others because social media is what's screwing people up very often,
Yeah. I mean, it's media in general. Like, there's so much that comparison thing is such a true statement. It's that you know there's a society expectation to make lots of money, to have all these things, and for a very long time. I remember when I was very very little, I always would question myself to like, why do I need to be what they want? I always wanted to know, why do I have to get married? Why do I need to live in a box house in a suburb? And I am hoping that more and more people are becoming brave to do that. Like, I'm becoming more and more connected with the fact that I may not actually find my life partner, and it's okay, right? Because I love myself enough. But when I
I
say
love
that,
that you say this. Like, this is so gold, especially anyone who's like reached their 40s or beyond who still hasn't found their life partner, And I believe like you are your own life partner.
yeah,
If you love
yeah,
yourself
I
enough.
know. But you know what? Every time I say that out loud, I get this weirdest. My mum starts crying. I get this weird sort of thing because people. I think that people look for other things, right? It could be job, money. It could be their looks. It could be a partner to feel good, and it takes courage to actually realize that what, I don't need any of that.
Do you know what? This is brilliant that we're having this conversation because I personally feel, even as a self-development coach, as a practitioner, and I'm now 43, I believe I only truly started recognizing that probably about 6 to 8 months ago, where I finally decided to let go of the notion that being a single man was a bad thing and there was something
Wow.
wrong with me. So
What,
prior to
did something happen? Did something?
yeah, I had a few interactions with some guys online that I felt we were having great conversations, and then it felt like there's something called avoidance personality attachment types, and I felt like they were messing me around, and the level of anxiety and stress that I felt in those moments made me realize, what am I doing? Why do I feel such a strong need to be attached to somebody else? Is it because I don't feel worthy being on my own? And then I reassessed and I thought, you know what, the values that society has, that unless you're in a partnership, unless you've got kids, unless you've got this, that, the other, you're not enough. I had to reassess it and I went, stuff it. Okay. And the interesting thing is, this is going to be so, you'll love this. Literally made the decision that enough was enough. Probably about
I know. I can guess what you're
2
going to
months
say.
later, a friend of mine that I've known for 6 years came out of a relationship. We got chatting and now we're in a relationship. And it's like,
Yeah.
what the hell? So
Well,
I stopped hunting. I
stopped
hunting for a
hunting.
relationship. And I'm happy being alone. I'm just going to be my own person now. And then boom, somebody comes into my world.
Yeah. Do you think that was something unfixed or not? That was something sort of stirred up in you that caused you think, to make these toxic men online, to make you realize? Because if you didn't actually go through that experience, you may not have been in the relationship you are now.
Look, to be quite frank, I have to take responsibility as well. Like, I mean, I'm somebody who's a real go-getter. If I want to, like, for example, I wanted to get back in shape 4 weeks ago, I dropped 5 kilograms. You know, like when I want to do something, I just go, and I do it. And that, you know, I realize kind of burns some people out, you know. And in my dating experience, I feel like I know what I want. I know where I want to get to. I know I want to have kids one day. I'd start chatting to a guy online, and very quickly I was sussing them out. Do they want kids? Do they want this? Do they want that? And I realized I was just way too intense. It was my.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful that you knew what you wanted, right? But the thing is that, you know, I think you realize that maybe the people, you know, a lot of people aren't like that. They're not. You know, I'm the same as you. I could meet someone in one day, and I could totally be emotionally invested, because I think that we wear our emotions on our sleeves, while other people have layers, right?
Yeah.
You know, for me, it was interesting because I had this really sort of gym body, and I was very accepted by the gay world. I loved it, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I became disabled, and that was like the most confronting thing. But I thank God for that every day, because that's when I did a lot of my deep work. Like, it was this, you know, that whole unshedding of the masks and all that. Because to have a thriving culture, we have to admit that we wear masks, don't we?
I love what you've just said. And in the program that I do, I actually call it the chameleon. Everyone's got the mask or the chameleon on, and we're trying to show the world our best side, because on some deep level, we realize that if we don't show that greatness, that will be rejected by people. But there's the shadow side underneath that as well, you know?
Yeah.
And I do believe, like, what happened with you was a really good example of, like, you shed the superficiality and you're stripped down to your core and all your rawness, you know?
Yeah, but I was forced to do that. That's the interesting thing, is like, I don't wish it on everyone, but some part of me wishes that everyone can experience something that traumatic, because you are forced to do it, right? Because in the real world, trying to get to this thriving culture, people have to do it in their own speed, and some people will find distractions, or they'll find reasons to loophole and not actually do it. And I guess there's an impatience in me, because I want everyone to feel what I feel.
I feel like you and I both have this, like, level of impatience that I'm really working on, and like, I'm learning to be more patient, and I feel like that's one of my life lessons. And I feel like as long as you have an awareness of it, you know.
Yeah.
But what I'm gathering from you is, because you found this, like, absolute gem, this gold that you found within yourself, you wanting so much for other people to have that too, that you're like, yeah, have it, come on. But I guess not everyone's ready, you know.
Yeah, I get it. And I'm learning. I am learning. I mean, because
your heart's big, Joey. That's
well, right? You know, because it was like, you're right. Because at the beginning, I wanted everyone to have it, and I think that I was attracting the wrong people, similar to you on the hookup thing. Then I stepped back and I just let it be, and now the right people are coming.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is frustrating sometimes when you know something, or you're feeling something, and you're dealing with these clients or these people or these family members that are so in pain, and you just want to, like, sometimes I just want to rip myself open and share. They are either stuck in old beliefs or old-fashioned cultural things that, they don't allow themselves to let go.
It's kind of like, and it's essentially what you're doing is trying to shine the light on something that they may not even want to be looking at right now. It's kind of like, how you get people who are in toxic relationships with like a narcissist, and you're like, oh my God, how could you not see that the person you're in a relationship with is killing you, right?
Yeah.
And you say to them, get out of it, hurry up, get out of it. And you can tell that they just don't. They make every excuse under the sun to stay. And what I've learned over like the years is you've just got to be there for them. You've just got to be a beacon of support and a sounding board for them. And only when they are ready to see it and they've had that emotional threshold of enough is enough, then they step out of it. But until then, you just you can't keep banging.
Yeah, I know. I just want to admit out loud on radio, on this podcast, is that whenever I push, please people do not think I'm being vicious, but
No.
I've got this download and I can't stop.
But
that's the problem. That's the problem.
You're not being vicious at all. You're just being freaking passionate. And I think that can be a bit overwhelming for some people who are not ready. Those who are ready for the journey are like, come on, Joey, let's get started. Like, hurry up. I'm listening to your message. And those are the people that are going to, resonate with what you say.
But I think that's what you've got as well. I mean, like, you've got that. That's why we can talk like this, is because we're mirroring each other. And I'm only saying all this because you're on the podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And we bring this out in each other. Yeah. I think that's what I'm hoping people get from the chemistry that you and I have, which is so awesome, is that we're just two guys being real. We're showing our flaws. Neither of us are pretending to have it made and or be perfect. Yeah. We just want to help other people to become better versions of themselves, as we're hoping to become for ourselves,
So you're joining the SMB family, I believe?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to have a segment. I'd love to, if I can be of inspiration to other guys just through what I've learned over the years, then that's great.
Yeah. Well, Shaun, thank you so much for taking. I mean, I know that we're going to talk again, and I could talk. That went so fast. I get so frustrated when I want to talk longer.
So we'll do more.
Yeah. So thanks again. Okay.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. You've been listening to the Secret Men's Business podcast. This podcast will be out on Monday at 9 a.m. And don't forget, press the button below and subscribe so you get all the information when all the segments are released. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.